Hello, and welcome to or back to my channel. I'm Kit, your friendly feminist cat lady spinster, and today we have to talk about YogiOabs.
I'm famous, all right? I'm famous, but not in a good way. So 7 days ago, I posted a tweet stating, no doesn't always mean no. The words were just so beautifully plastered over a picture of myself. And I got so much hate.
For those lucky enough not to know, YogiOabs is a marriage coach who has been married for 4 months. His claim to fame is being banned off Twitter for hate speech. Let's go! So I'm not going to read this whole thing since we will be here all day, but in short, he enrolled in a naturopathic medical school. However, in his first clinic shift, he asked, "What is the role of intuition in discerning which ROS questions to ask the patient? I noticed today, for instance, that some of the questions asked were off a list and were not necessary. So how do you decide what is needed to be asked?" This apparently offended the woman he worked with, and his lesbian teacher later emailed him and said he would be unable to successfully complete this class if he kept asking questions like that and being disrespectful to other students. Per YogiOabs, the only students that did not like me, of course, were female and did not like to think critically. So YogiOabs grew up on the East Coast, but he was studying in Oregon, and he found it a depressing experience because people lived in fear and did not speak out against anything, unless it was racist or sexist or some social justice issue. He eventually failed this class for asking too many questions. He was suspended from school, and the lab he was working at mysteriously lost funding. So he decided to take a leave of absence, which I don't think is called a leave of absence when you've already been suspended, and to become an entrepreneur. A feminist at the school who I was friends with told me, "This happened because you're a man." She had the feminist glasses and feminist bangs, things I didn't realize at the time were feminist identifiers. How are glasses and bangs feminist? Is there a particular style that's feminist, or is it just feminist to have them at all? And also, if you only have one but not the other, are you less of a feminist? I didn't believe her, though. I wasn't ready to accept that I was discriminated against because of my gender. How can my gender have anything to do with this? Did some women really hate men? How was that possible? Was this naturopathic school for women only? Well, he did mention the only students not liking him were women, so there must have been other male students. Were the other male students also suspended, or was it just YogiOabs? Did the lab lose funding just to bring him down? If the school is graduating only female naturopathic doctors, didn't he think he should bring a discrimination lawsuit? Or, since the other female students didn't like to think critically, at least name and shame the school so people will be warned about the substandard care they would receive from graduates of the school? Is it possible he just failed out and is trying to save face? Nah, must be the feminists. So YogiOabs began watching YouTube videos from Red Pill and MGTOW content creators, and he began realizing that what he had observed in the dating scene could be the result of feminism. After speaking with some men's rights activists, I learned that what had happened to me in school was indeed a form of discrimination in many respects, and that female teachers often side with female students. He then decided to begin making his own videos to challenge the feminist narrative. He also identified as MGTOW because marriage seemed like a terrible idea, but changed his mind because MGTOW philosophies were not enough to solve the problem feminism created. I also met a godly one who opened my eyes to the possibility of marriage. And that is when God began working on him, and YogiOabs became a born-again Christian in August 2020. He married the godly woman in August 2021. Adam failed in the same way modern men continue to fail today. Eve was deceived the same way modern women continue to be deceived today. The only solution is to follow Jesus' teachings. Young men especially behave in more feminine ways because they did not learn about patriarchy at a young age or see it exemplified in their parents. Women, on the other hand, are growing increasingly arrogant and delusional, believing they can do what men can do even when on their periods. They are taught that traditional views on gender are constructed by society, but if this were true, then people today would never develop these views since society clearly hates traditional values. Because everyone on Earth shares the same beliefs, beliefs change overnight and not gradually, and social media is not a thing. Traditional views on gender come from God and the way He has wired us. We are not designed by evolution, but by a higher power that knew what it would take for us to thrive. So I guess YogiOabs is a creationist. I, as a man, would never crave bearing children or being a housewife. A woman, in her design, would never understand how to court a woman or be a gentleman or how to lead a woman. Our gender, given to us by God, informs us how to live. There are hormonal reasons for this too, but scientific explanations merely scratch the surface. Will someone please tell this man he has no ability or right to speak for all people? Considering that women are using antidepressants at very high rates, and concomitantly, the proportion of women that are childless and unmarried is at an all-time high, I think we can see that women have failed at mimicking men. Women have failed at leading themselves because they need to masculine to thrive. They need the patriarchy. So first, feminism was never about women mimicking men. Choosing your life path is not something only men are entitled to. Second, whenever someone says people are unhappy, we should restrict their freedoms for their own good, my alarms begin to go off. But following this logic, more women than men are on antidepressants, and that means men should lead them. But men commit suicide more often than women, so how does it figure they should lead women? And continuing on this line, college doesn't seem to affect women's usage of antidepressants, but college-educated men use antidepressants more than men who didn't attend college. So no college for men because it makes them unhappy. Usage also increases with age, so perhaps after, say, 70, people should be put to sleep? And more white people use antidepressants than people of color, so this way of thinking is so incredibly lazy. A Christian patriarch is a man who is a competent leader, a devout Christian who follows what the Bible says, and a man who glorifies God throughout his spiritually rich life. In a marriage or during courtship, the Christian patriarch is a man who is strong, tough, imposing, but one who is also gentle and very kind. He is a man who a woman sees as someone who cannot be easily manipulated by her devious schemes and nagging. He is a man who will stamp out feminism from her mind and take over her life. Is that supposed to be a good thing? She knows that her life will change when she is with this man, and if there is chemistry and personality compatibility, she will do anything for him. This patriarch is now her head, and she feels free in following him and the Lord. I like how the Lord is mentioned second. A godly woman is one whose persona is pure, holy, and bright. She is humble, not arrogant like modern secular females, and teachable. She may have strong opinions, but her delivery is so elegant it stuns anyone who may have animosity towards her. She speaks like a member of the royal family, excluding Meghan Markle, who had no control over her tongue. This woman dresses modestly and is secure in herself because she has the Lord. She does not go on social media and expose her flesh. She wants to be a wife and mother if that is God's plan for her. She does not have any ambition for material success, but she may have a talent that she wishes to share with the world, one that glorifies him in the process. She also stands up for what is right and has a heavy heart for the poor, sick, and needy. She has a pivotal role in cleansing society of its evils and being a positive role model to others, leading them with her light. So his Instagram is private because of his posts being reported, but don't worry, if you really want to follow him, he has instructions. When Jesus roamed the earth, his followers were real people. His disciples lived on after him to transform the Western world. Nowadays, people click follow, but are they real followers? If you want to truly follow me, then read on, because things are going to be a bit different around here. My private Instagram is an intimate place where I share extremely controversial, challenging, and thought-provoking ideas that completely transform marriages and lives, opening hearts and minds. I'm sorry, is he saying he's like Jesus? My haters like to misuse my ideas to slander me online, and since they're pretty lazy and dumb, they prefer to stalk my Instagram so they don't have to read too much. Then they mass report my posts, and Instagram cries hate speech and deletes my post and censors my account. It only pisses off my haters more when I grow on here and keep it private, but growing here isn't my true goal. I just want to help the people that truly want to learn and learn more myself. So in short, if you want to follow YogiOabs, you must be interested in learning with humility. You must be someone with a lot of curiosity and genuine interest in changing. And lastly, you need to send him a DM and explain why you'd like to follow. Then he'll accept you. However, if you don't have a clear profile picture or it looks like you just made an account, he will not accept you. And of course, he has his own shop, Anti-Feminist Apparel. Here's a sampling of his merchandise. Sexist with the Friends logo, so very clever. Women are less than men. Body counts matter for women. Hush, woman. Pro-woman, anti-feminist. I heart misogyny. Property. We should all be misogynists. Repeal the 19th. Your body, my choice. He also has mugs, and I even saw a face mask on there. So for a 1-hour consultation, you'll pay $150, and you can get 10-session relationship harmony coaching for $1,380. Okay, wow. So now we're going to move into some of the posts and videos that YogiOabs has created, and I want to add a trigger warning here because some of the things he says can be disturbing. From the moment a boy is born, he has power over women. He is meant to be a patriarch, a ruler, and a king. As today's society believes this is oppressive thinking, it commits human rights violations and abuse towards men and boys, failing to acknowledge their true nature.
And I realize that I am a misogynist and I have to come out about something. I'm an incel. And that must be why I don't like feminists, because if I was able to get laid, and many people call me incel and a virgin, I can't get laid, and if I was able to do that, I would obviously be happy.
Last year, I said, no doesn't always mean no. Although this tweet promoted fornication, which I do not condone, it is still true. Wait until marriage, don't go to bars and clubs, and don't be a whore. Assault will decrease tremendously. Looking forward to watching the documentary. This is utterly ridiculous. I don't care if Tommy doesn't like Muslims. F Muslims. When he grew up, London was more white. I defend his right to stand up for that belief. Muslims, brown ones, are invading white countries. Even though I'm brown, I know that's effed.
I posted an official statement by my girlfriend. I tried to make it seem like she was white, blonde girl. Not that black women aren't beautiful, but a lot of times people tell me, Yogi, you should go find yourself a nice Indian girl because I have brown skin! Racist.
Wives aren't just called to submit to their husbands by God. They are called to be subject to their husbands. This wording is much more specific. As a subject of her husband, he is her authority. It's not just a choice, it's law. Repent for feminism and fear the Lord.
And I think God's great, but sometimes God fucks up. God, you fucked up!
Ladies, you take your husband's name for a reason. You forge a sense of self through him. You are not created to be your own self, but to help your man. You retain your identity, but do not forge one in his absence. That is God's plan for you. When I touch you, I know what you are meant to be, a baby factory, and that's why I love you. Women were put on this earth for men, to please them and help them, not to form their own independent identity. Women can't do anything alone or independently. They always need help and male provision. Their life revolves around men and always will. They are nothing without us. How to look like a whore. Have bangs. Wear oversized glasses. Crop tops. Doc Martens. Baggy mom jeans. Paint on face. Makeup. Overweight and obesity. Dark lipstick. Short bob haircut. Says F word. Take selfies. Leather jacket. Has OnlyFans. Assault does have to do with the woman's actions. She is responsible for going to the bar, getting blackout drunk, bringing a guy home, and being loose. Assault doesn't happen as much to traditional women.
Is not submission consent. If wives are to submit to their husbands, they are to consent to their husbands sexually. Therefore, marriage implies consent, and marital rape does not exist from a biblical perspective. So obviously, you don't get to decide if you can deny your husband sexually. That's not something that you have the choice to do. And how is marital rape even possible? Because if the husband and wife are one flesh, they're one unit. The husband can't rape himself. So if he has forced sex with his wife, that's not really rape. In fact, it's complete blasphemy to even think that. How many feminists wake up in the middle of the night to find their feminist husbands, sleeping with them non-consensually? Nobody. Nobody's doing that because that's rape, and then he would go to jail, right?
Having been in that situation myself, I can assure YogiOabs that nothing is lost when you take the time to ensure your partner is awake and consenting. However, the real issue he's concerned with isn't the assault, it's with the husband being denied.
How come we're not focusing on the fact that the wife denied her husband? If this wife doesn't want to be maritally raped, then she probably shouldn't deny her husband. It's not to say that a man should do that. It's just that no matter how much feminists try to castrate men, it's still going to happen. It still happens. So it's better to work with male energy, learn to please and obey your husband rather than try to deny him and exert control and authority over him.
So I'm supposed to believe that not wanting to have sex is trying to exert control over someone else? You can fuck off with that nonsense. I was pondering what to put on the thumbnail, and it occurred to me that YogiOabs is selling misogyny. Whether it's outright hatred or a woman knowing her place, he's banking on misogyny to sell his products. And, well, there's wonderings if he's a troll or not, but I'm sad to say I think he's real. And I don't think he has a lot of customers, but he has enough to keep going. Everything about this man screams red flags, and I do wonder what his wife was thinking when she agreed to marry him. Of course, it's entirely possible he ups the misogyny for the internet, but even if, in real life, he behaves like a rational human, he's still actively working to make the world a worse place, by attempting to normalize thinking that women need men to control them. Alright, well, that was lovely. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video as much as possible considering the content. Have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye!